I don't know who in their right mind signs up for stuff like this, but it is what it is. This is what the life of a Chargers fan entails. And to answer my question, yeah, it's got to be like this forever and always, I'm assuming. Not great for any of our health, but again, it comes with the territory. This team is going to send a lot of people to early graves. But hey, at least you'll have some fun along the way. Somewhat. Whatever. Yo, you know who it is. Welcome to another episode of CI2TG. And I'm your boy, Petty Pendergrass, Peppermint Petty, Petty Mayonnaise, Petty Murphy, if you will. Or Zenny Craig, Zen Crea, or Zenjamin Button. It just depends on which day you catch me. Just here out of the gym Monday morning, doing some, I guess this is more lawn chair Monday morning quarterbacking. Had a little bit of time to sleep on it, thought it through while I was lifting a little while ago, and what a game for multiple reasons. Before we get to the big issue here, let's just kind of run through the list. I'm not going to keep y'all long. This is just me freestyling. So the tales of Austin Eckler being washed are greatly exaggerated. I never bought into it, but some did. Hopefully the last 2 weeks have changed your mind. If not, then, you want to die on that hill, be my guest. Just choose more wisely in the future, because I don't think that was the one to do it on. If you had Austin Eckler out rushing Nick Chubb to the tune of about nearly, 40-50 yards, somewhere around there. It was like 170 plus to like 130-ish, somewhere around there. So like 30-something, 40-something yards, whatever. I'm not the math guy. You're lying if you said you had that on the bingo card. Completely false. Nobody saw that coming. Eck had a career day, combined with the fact that Mr. Joshua Kelly was finally given his due. Sony Michel had 1-2 carries? Again, off of the top of my head, it's not instant reaction, it's the day after, but I still haven't rewatched the game. You didn't see Sony for the rest of the game after Josh started getting his run, and then the whole hot hand thing played itself out the way that it was supposed to, the way that we were told it would. We actually got to see it firsthand. And from here on out, there's no reason for Sony Michel to get any real burn unless there's an injury. I don't know why I just said that out loud. Either way, next up, it's time to have Sony take a seat and give the kid some burn now. There's no reason for Sony Michel to be active, in my opinion, at this point. It's time to bring Spiller up and get a nice little 3-man rotation going. At some point, you want to give this kid some carries, because if the plan is to improve upon this running game throughout the season, you're going to have some bumps, scrapes, and bruises at that position, and he needs to get some game reps. It's just what makes logical sense to me. And it's funny, it's a little bit of foreshadowing, because I just used the phrase logical sense, and man, that comes in question, but we'll get to that in a bit. 10 didn't have to carry the day. How nice is that? Your guy with busted ribs was able to go out there and manage it, made some big throws per usual. He should have had 2 TDs. One was taken away from Mike Williams. And look, I'm going to contest this until the cows come home. This man had all 10 toes down. And because, Staley explained this in his presser. He said he was told it was toe heel that hit, when the replay clearly shows all 10 of Mike Williams' toes down prior to his heel touching out of bounds. Now, you can say that the right foot was beyond the pylon and the left foot was in front of it, and if that's the route you want to go, cool. Give him the ball at the 1. But nah, it just took that straight off the board. Glad Eck cashed it in on the next play anyway, so no harm done. Kind of, sort of. I'm still hating about that. That should have been 2 TDs for 10, and Mike Will should have an extra touchdown on his stat sheet as well. I mean, it should be added to the pretty good year that he's having so far. I mean, still having those issues where he's not catching the ball with his hands, trapping it. He literally caught one pass like Mr. Miyagi using chopsticks. It's just like bam, like an alligator's mouth. I don't know if I've ever seen a ball trapped like that in midair, coming at that speed. But when it mattered most on a big third down, he did use his hands. He extended away from his body, made a contested catch, which is like literally 95% of the catches he makes. And hey, I guess if you do it when it really matters, then I can't be super critical of you. But yes, I would still like to see a wide receiver use his hands to catch the ball. I don't think that's asking for too much. But look, guess you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm not here to crap on Mike. Good game, my man. Another 100 yards plus. Coming up with big plays. The end. That's all I got to say about it. Outside of that, in addition to talking about the passing game a little bit more, Herbert was kept clean again against Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett, who I didn't believe both were going to play. I was more of the mind that Garrett was going to get some burn and Clowney would sit this one out, but they both played. Now, they got some snaps off, and Joe Lombardi showed some OC chops by taking some shots when he saw that both of them were out, because that meant you were probably going to be able to hold up a little bit longer in protection, giving your wide receivers a chance to get downfield. And they need those extra few ticks because ain't a fast soul in that room. And I'm still going to harp on that until it gets fixed, because it almost seems pointless to have a pass first offense that can't really push the ball down the field because they don't really have speed. And you got a cannon arm quarterback who's, never mind, let's not get into that. But I digress. Let's move on to the defense. Run D still ain't it. And got to stop using the excuse that the games prior have all been about one big chunk run that makes it look a lot worse than what it is, because that didn't happen yesterday. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb pretty much got whatever they wanted all day long. And yeah, take into account you're going against arguably the preeminent offensive line in the NFL. Got it. They still couldn't stop a nosebleed for the most part. Saw Derwin not have his best day, missing some tackles in the open field that led to that Nick Chubb first really big run. And before it slips my mind, Alohi Gilman getting a start over Nas, scary, and not the world that I want to live in. Giving Alohi all his props though, man comes up big, gets a pick that kind of sort of seals the game. Almost. Well, yeah, you could say that, but kind of almost didn't. We'll get to why that is in a minute. But if you gotta try to Lohi out there just starting safety opposite Derwin, just from an athletic standpoint, things could get a little scary here moving forward. Hopefully Nas can pull it together. He's had some mental busts, and a few of those have come at the expense of J.C. Jackson. And whoa, while we're talking about J.C., we have to now consider that ankle situation an injury. He ain't right. And off coverage, soft off coverage, zone or man is not his forte right now. It wasn't in New England. He was more of a press man guy. But until that ankle heals up, his ability to click and close or redirect, kind of mirror and off-man coverage is going to be a problem. I'm not ready to say that he stole money from us at all. Just think that he's adjusting to a new defensive scheme that hasn't historically played to his. That doesn't play to his historic strength. And he's dealing with a foot situation. I mean, it's a skill player. It's one of the worst injuries you can have, something to your lower extremity. So giving it another few weeks before I get really concerned. But man, Nas, I don't know. And it's making me wonder whether or not you're going to bring him back next year. Might need to start having that conversation. But man, outside of that, no pass rush whatsoever. And the Chargers have this thing where they make dudes who have a specific weakness that's known to the world somehow become a strength whenever they play the Chargers. Not sure how that comes about, but Chargers making somebody famous every week. And Jacoby Brissett looked like an above average quarterback. It's a thing. Until he didn't, by the way. And then he reverted back to a pumpkin, threw that pick to Alohi. So I guess the universe kind of worked it all out in the Chargers' favor. Speaking of the universe in the Chargers' favor, let's just go ahead and talk about the giant elephant in the room. Brandon Staley, man, listen. I may have mentioned this already. You guys know about like how I have buddies that have taken screenshots of my Go Get Dable hashtags from off season before last during that coaching cycle, and they've been sending them to me, even still after yesterday, in a win. And there's a reason for it. We all know it. The decision Brandon Staley made yesterday was not, there's no logical football explanation for it. Now, analytics are important. They should be used accordingly. But if any of you guys say that when he made that call, you were all right with it, you're lying. Stop lying to yourself. I don't believe it. At the end of the day, did it work out? Yeah, but you can't do that. Let's not pretend like that dude didn't play Russian roulette with 5 full chambers and he just so happened to walk out of there scot-free. We have to call this like it is. If you want to be an objective fan, not seem like a complete homer, let's talk about it. If Cade York doesn't miss that kick, pitchforks out for Staley today because of that decision. With that said, we can't act like it didn't happen and the fact that it could have gone a completely different way. So let's be critical of it. Why would you not make Jacoby Brissett dice you up for an additional 40, 50 yards to get in the field goal range as opposed to putting them just outside of it? What were they, about 15, 20 yards that they needed to get in field goal range, something like that? And again, just lucked out because Cade York had been 8 for 8 on the season before yesterday's game where he misses 2 kicks. And that's another issue. 3s instead of 6s. Chargers didn't make enough, they didn't cash in enough in the red zone by getting the ball into the end zone, thus making that a bit more difficult of a game for the Browns and causing Jacoby Brissett to have to air it out some more. But if you're telling me you were depending on your defense to come through when they hadn't really all day long, you're lying, man. What evidence was there to tell you that your defense was going to be able to keep them out of field goal range? And technically they didn't. Cade York just missed a 50-plus yarder. The distance was there. It just veered off to the right a bit. That kick's about 5-8 yards shorter. Again, different conversation today. You look at a win by Brian Daboll and you look at one by Brandon Staley, and I've never seen two things virtually the same actually be so polar opposite of each other. Staley's walking a very tricky line, and a lot of people who jumped ship on him a couple weeks ago, some people, hell, did it after last season, after just 1 year. But man, this Staley heat is coming hot and heavy, and get ready for it. All these national shows today, these sports shows, these talking heads, you're going to get a whole lot more criticism than you are going to get praise about it, regardless as to what the analytics say. Just be prepared. Hopefully you don't get your feelings hurt. And it's like I said before, I don't like the call. It worked out, but I'm not banking on that happening more often than not. I don't care what the analytics say. Just from a football standpoint, from your eyes, you know that was a crazy freaking call. So two things can be true. Yes, it worked out, but it was also bat crap crazy. Come on now. Anyway, that's it. I won't hold y'all up any longer. It's just my little Monday morning rant. So I'll get out of here because I got work to do. I'm sure a lot of you guys have the same. But again, like I always say, you don't have to agree with me. That's not what I'm looking for here. Just when you make your decisions, ensure that they're informed. And sometimes it's okay to use the eye test and have a brain of your own and be logical. But you choose to do otherwise, it's all on you, man. You got to agree with me. Charge it to the game. Like I always say, that's what we do here. So till the next time. Y'all take it easy. See y'all on the various outlets that you see me on this week. You'll get enough of me there. I promise. But y'all be light, be easy, be cool. Hopefully you're not dealing with the type of heartburn I was yesterday. It's a weekly occurrence now, but we'll be all right. Just keep it pumping, keep supporting the team, and until next time, take it easy. Gone.